Well, it was a good run, but it's come to an end. We have approached the final 3 episodes. Now that was a joke. The intro was a joke. No, the series is not ending, but the Cold War is. The Cold War is about to come to an end. This is the final 3 episodes of the Cold War. That was a joke. The series itself is not ending. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna have just the Cold War ending. So if you remember last episode, one, for once, my memory of the last episode is gonna be clear because I recorded it just a few hours ago. But two, so if you remember, this video, next video, is going to be the World War III of our timeline. Like the biggest war we've ever had. All the alliances are gonna go to war. Everybody's at war. Epis this video, all that is going to begin. Tensions are going to reach a breaking point. Episode 29, everything's going to explode. And episode 30, we're going to have the world come out of ashes and the new world order will begin. My beautiful, beautiful microstate will never be hurt. Don't you worry about that. Anyway, so let's begin. Firstly, all these member states, these guys, the blue team now takes a lot more seriously, and that is they completely erase these guys from joining. And then second, the Persians, they are allowed to join as they are completely now incorporated into the blue team's power. Also, that means that the blue team is now finally accepting democracy. Except not really, because, at the end of the day, it's still a monarchy that's doing this. So, like, even though it's not perfect, it's still a step up from getting hated by the entire world for the Persians. Meanwhile, these guys, Mozambique, they're finally going to join a country, and they are going to join the British. They're going to join the British. Abyssinia, they're finally going to join the team. They're actually going to join these guys. Actually, no, they're going to join the British too, because the African Union hates them. The Algerians, though, they're going to join. Of course, we got the Russians. And then these guys, they don't know what to join because on one hand, blue team's right there, so they're never going to let them into their alliance. On the other hand, the British kind of don't like them that much either. They're kind of hated by everyone. Eventually, they do join the Kievan Rus. And in this video, everyone's going to have an alliance by the end of this video. These guys, Tibet, they are going to stay out of this for now. Japanese finally give over the invitation for the Koreans to join, which the Koreans obviously accept. Who else is left? These pirate guys, they're going to withdraw for now. These guys over here, they're actually going to join the Persian, not the Persian, the Kievan Rus, which finally makes the blue team now scared of these guys. Was this the same color? Hold up. Is this? No, it's not. They're different. These guys are different teams. Speaking of different teams, the blue team is now officially surrounded because the Kievan Rus, they're going to get those guys. Actually, no. The British, they're going to get those guys. Wait, the blue team owns that random island. Oh, that's cool. Well, who's left now? So everybody, Cuba. Cuba, they are going to join. They never really got along with the red team, and they're also kind of sealed off from the rest of the world, just like everybody else in the Kevin Roos's team. So they're going to join the Kevin Roos. These guys are the only ones that are going to be staying neutral and my micronation throughout this entire segment. Meanwhile, tensions will continue as Denmark or the Danish, they're no longer going to be allowed to be neutral, as both the Britishes or both the French and the Kievan Rus invade the small nation. And the French do get over there, however, the Kievan Rus cut them up over there, capture that, that gets captured by the Kievan Rus, and now the Kievan Rus are officially no longer able to be blockaded, which is, I guess, cool for them, not for the French. So the French, they're going to grab up this piece. They're just going to grab that piece up, just like that. And then the Kievan Rus get everything else, just like that. Okay, and the French, they get that. So with this annexation of land, the Danish officially stop existing, but also the Kievan Rus are now going to get ready to basically invade Tibet. Because, Tibet's looking like they might just join the British, and Tibet, that's mostly looking like that because the demographics flip from neutral to hating the Kievan Rus. Because remember, a lot of refugees went to Tibet from Stanistan from last video's war. So Tibet is going to now want to join the British. However, to stop this from happening, neither sides, nor the Tibet nor the British, or the Kievan Rus actually want a war. So knowing this, the Kievan Rus is going to do the one thing that's going to make that the British can do. That's kind of the nuclear option of this world, where it's basically stopping them from ever kind of joining into any side. And that how to do that is just invade them, because no one wants a war to break out, not even the Kievan Rus right now at least. So eventually, after doing this, the Kievan Rus hold on to large majorities of this land, quickly capturing a bunch of stuff, and they're going to occupy these regions for a very, very long time. They're going to keep this occupied. Meanwhile, there is actually an invention of a new item that is made in Persia, however, quickly spreads throughout the rest of the world because Persia, they're a part of the Blue Team's alliance, not the British alliance, and the British alliance, they have sanctions on the Kievan Rus and anyone who is not part of the their team, except for the Blue Team's team. So, but the Blue Team's team, they're free trade with everybody for now. They're obviously going to quickly switch that up by the end of this video because of global tensions rising. However, Persia, they make a lot of money out of this really quickly, and that money is distributed everywhere. Well, not the money, no, the gun. Yeah, they made a pew pew rifle. So, with that, that's like World War One weapon right now. However, we do get that before tanks, which means no more Blitzkrieg. So I guess that's good. Currently just high-ranking generals have it. It is slowly spreading out to the rest of the infantry. However, the idea of the normal infantry troops having it is not yet widely accepted. It is in Persia though, leading to the Persians inventing their own strategy called um Krieg Blitz. Krieg Blitz. And what this is, it's basically Blitzkrieg except they give their pew pews to the normal infantry troops and then put them ahead and then put the generals behind. But right now, in the rest of the world, is generals ahead on big horses and catapults with the pew pew. So yeah. Anyways, the Kievan Rus' invasion over here does come to a ceasefire eventually. However, that ceasefire is literally only agreed to by the Kievan Rus, and it doesn't really matter because they eventually they are the ones who have the ultimate decision to pull out or not. So they're actually going to recognize these two provinces as independent. However, the Tibet, they are not going to. Now, the only purpose of these being there is so Tibet can never join the blue team or the British, which I guess is smart. Speaking of the British, they're going to get very aggravated as another big old chunk of South Africa, or no, South Africa? No, South America is going to join up with this unionization thing, who's also now going to take all of this land. Not yet, though. They are looking to, though. They're also going to end up connecting these two to make a much bigger, like, blob over here. Because remember, all these blobs are not going to be connected, like, ever, because these guys don't have the resources to do that. So, like, just connecting the smaller ones up with each other might just be their best bet for now. Meanwhile, the Colombians, I forgot whose team they're on. They're on the Kievan Rus' side. They're leaning towards the British though, because they were leaning towards both. They were kind of like neutral, but when they had joined, they won. They don't have the resources to pull out like the Aztecs did. But when they had joined and the Aztecs had joined, the Blue Team's alliance had not yet been created. However, once it was created, all the neutral-ish countries that just wanted to be a part of the alliance, like the Aztecs, they pulled out. Except Colombia does not actually have the resources to pull out. One, because they hate the Aztecs, but also two, because they hate the British as well. Kind of. More than the Kievan Rus, at least. But also, they don't want to be alone, because they don't have the resources to support themselves to be alone. Meanwhile, over here, Flipperland, they're finally going to join a team, and they're going to join the Blue Team. Or, yeah, the Blue Team's team. Leading to the Blue Team having its first and only member in the entirety of Europe. Also, France is given a an alliance into the British's thing, mostly because they gave the British one to their thing. Either way, this entire alliance is going to be at war eventually with the Kievan Rus because of the fact that, yeah. Anyway, Morocco is stepping up as a new leader. Morocco's because France is now much more involved with the rest of the world. Morocco is stepping up as a new regional power and regional leader, like Qatar was with Arabia. Except Qatar really could not care less and just wants to keep to themselves with their Arabian colony puppet thing. Anyway, moving on. So, with this, the teams have finally been settled, and we're going to look at another war, this time, again with the Kievan Rus, except this is going to result in their annexation of these two regions, leading to Tibet declaring war on them. Except this war for the Tibets it's not going to go very well. Oh, what? Decolor that thing. It's not going to go very well for Tibet, because of the simple fact that it's the Kievan Rus and their entire mobilized military, or majority of their mobilized military, was literally right in these regions, anyways. And so the invasion is going to come out, except this time is going to be alongside the Kievan Tibet. And Kievan Tibet is going to perform extremely well. Of course, these are just Kievan Rus soldiers. They're being employed under Kievan Tibet. Kievan Tibet is going to do extremely well, though, still, and they're going to move all the way to take all of this stuff. The Qing are given over permission by the, what's it called, by the British to do a little bit of this, which they're going to, reaching over to the Persians' border. Eventually, with this being reached, it's sort of a stalemate and an eventual peace treaty. So, quick look at this peace treaty. It's not much, I guess, but it's something. It's something. So, just like that, we're going to have the Qing annexation of all these lands, or actually, no, all of these lands. Just going to give them a little bit more out of Tibet. So they're going to get all of that. But then also, it does look like the rest of Tibet is not going to really. It's going to survive. It's just not going to survive well. So, firstly, the Kievan Rus themselves, they're going to take, even though they weren't a part of this war, really, it's still their troops who were fighting for the Kiev and Tibet. So they are still going to get some land out of it, and the land they're going to get is going to be just like that. So they themselves are going to grab up this and that, just like that. The Qing, they're going to grab up that, which is by far the largest portion, also the most useless one, and then Kiev and Tibet's going to grab up that. With this, though, we do have the rest of Tibet looking to actually unite with Persia, which Persia doesn't want because, you know, there's literally no land here. However, eventually Persia cuts a deal with the Kievan Rus to allow them the annexation of this land in exchange for a lot of money, and eventually they do end up annexing Tibet. However, this is in exchange of the annexation stopping over here, and this land being given over to the Kievan Rus, kind of Kievan Rus, but also Kievan Tibet. So the partitioning of Tibet, we have a lot of Tibetans. They don't like this at all, but the elites have decided this as the new map, so they are very sad. They also really do not have a choice at all. We're also just going to quickly thicken up these borders really quickly. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. Thicken this up as well. Oh god, that's connected. Thicken this up right here. Um, right here. Thicken this up. Okay, that looks nice. So yeah, with that, this connects up here. Then the Chinga returned that, and then the Chinga returned that, and then yeah. So with all this stuff that just happened, we do have a pretty major Central Asian player no longer existing, which leads to a lot of power vacuum, not on the global stage but in the local stage because people here are still Tibet culture and their land has been split into multiple different countries. So in some effort to kind of from the Kievan Rus' perspective, this effort is only to make the British alliance look bad. However, from the Persians' perspective, this now new treaty is going to be to um, give the people living in these lands a little bit more home sweet homeness, but also freedom in celebrating their cultures. So the Kevin Roos, this alliance, the Kevin Roos' reason I already explained, but this thing is going to be free visa transportation. Basically, they're allowed to freely move throughout these lands. They're all given this one card that all their children will also be given upon birth that basically says I'm Tibetan, and it lets them move through the designated territories of Tibet freely. However, the one problem with this is, as we already know, the British do not allow their alliance members to really agree with anything with the Kievan Rus or even participate in those alliances. And the Kievan Rus knew this very well, so which is why they did this. Um, because yeah, Qing are not actually allowed to do that. So now everyone living there who's not really, because people aren't really that much aware in Tibet of outside world because of how mountainous they are. It's kind of like this thing because it's surrounded by friendly nations. It literally does not recognize the rest of the world or doesn't have relations with them. It just acknowledges their existence. It could not care less about anything else. So yeah, just like that, we have now, because of this, the Kievan Rus' yeah, y'all get it. These guys look bad now. Meanwhile, Siberia, that's going to be the final straw and the final war of this video. As Kievan Rus invades Siberia, we have the British. They are not going to let this one slide. This is going to be like Poland in our timeline, where it is finally the final straw, and the British have had it with the expansion of the Kievan Rus. Not only are the British going to offer the Siberians to give this territory to these guys, this little tribal system, well, a little bit of that territory, I guess, they're also actually going to now declare war on the Kievan Rus. And as the final bit of Kievan troops stumble through Siberia, they quickly take complete control of the land, and the Siberian inferior military, who had previously signed a pact with the Kievan Rus, not knowing this would happen, had all their military been disbanded so they could invest into other things, now quickly is unable to mobilize fast enough and falls to the control of the Kievan Rus. In this peace treaty, we're going to have the complete annexation and incorporation of Siberia, but also over here, we're going to have a neat thing taking place where this elder tribe thing that's really powerful that the British had on their side is going to just like the British are going to sign an alliance basically with the dead government of Siberia. Now this alliance is going to be happening a week before the Siberian governments are killed, because they're kind of discarded off by the Kievan Rus. They're no longer needed, and unlike imprisoning the lesser countries that they've taken over, imprisoning like they've taken over a lot of countries, and the lesser countries they've taken over, they just imprison their governments because there's no chance they're gonna act up. However, the government of such a patriotic and big nation like Siberia, still being alive, is gonna give the people some hope, so they are discarded immediately, and they're sent to the Shadow Realm, where they Anyway, so the Kievan Rus back over here, they now share a border with not only their Japanese allies, or their Nagasaki Republic ally, but they also now have a much bigger control over Asia, and the Kievan Rus' alliance undoubtedly and unmatchingly just dominates Asia, with the only competitor being the Qing. However, now that the British and the Kievan Rus are at war, the entire world has been divided, and and the biggest war, or World War Ultra, as I'm going to call it, has begun.